Hey, how's it going? My name's Eric. This is Tracy.
Hi.
We're here with Unruly Industries.
Yes.
We're here to talk about some cool designer toy pieces by Tracy.
Thank you.
Get to know a little bit about them. Have a little fireside chat here.
I like that. Should be fun.
Yeah, it should be great. So I think we should hop right into this thing.
Let's do it.
Tracy, let's start with a layup for you.
Okay.
How'd you get into designer toys?
I got into designer toys. Basically, I just saw coworkers went to their desk and they just had all these cool random toys on their desk. I'm like, where'd you get that? And it was like a case of like they bought them online, got them from like a toy shop in Japan or something like that, and I just fell in love with it. I just loved the style.
So you got into it based out of jealousy.
Yes.
Because they had cool things you didn't have.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
It's the cubicle envy. We're like, oh man, that cubicle is way better than mine. I need to get that toy.
I always do that when I go to other people's offices. I'm like, okay, cool, your office, whatever, but what's on your desk?
Yes.
You know? That's awesome. Well,
purely out of jealousy. That's the only reason why I got into this.
So that's how you got an affinity for designer toys, but how did you get into designing designer toys?
No, that's an interesting question. I first started out like doing most stuff like, 2D illustrations and like selling, art prints here and there. Getting into actually making my own designer toy was basically a case of just going out there and doing it myself. I was like, you know what? I don't know where I can get this done anywhere else. So I was like, I'll just try doing it on my own.
You got to take matters into your own hands.
Take matters into my own hands.
It's a true toy entrepreneur right there.
I guess, yeah. I was actually lucky to pair up with a friend of mine, Mana Studios, Jay, the guys at Mana Studios.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mana Studios.
They sculpted these pieces right in front of you.
Way to go, guys. Jay, he saw my stuff, like my art, and he liked it. And then he's like, you know what, let's turn some of that stuff into like toys. And I was like, let's try it. And it just became a passion project that we would do like once a year. We're like, all right, he would just ask me, what do you want to do? Did it, and would just turn it into a toy, and that's how I got into it.
That's awesome. I really like to hear like when people are doing these art projects because it's from a passionate place, not because they feel obligated to. It's like, no, I want to really do it.
Yeah.
I want to like spend the time, finding and crafting all the details and really bring it to life.
I feel as if that's what's so great about like the designer toy like culture or that industry is that every artist that's in it is pretty much doing it because they love the art, they love the platform where they can get their art out there that way. Because admittedly, they're not making millions off of these, but at the same time, it straight up is for the love of the art.
Yeah.
And you see it a lot in a lot of people's pieces. Like it's just the passion that goes into it.
I mean, speaking of the passion for it, what are you most excited about just in the art world in general right now, or the designer toy world?
The one thing that gets me excited about the designer toy world now is that there's a lot more new artists coming out.
Yeah.
Like it's not that I'm I don't like all the old heads, the OG guys, or the guys who I grew up liking. I love their stuff still. It's just one of those things that I love seeing new and upcoming artists who I might not have heard of, but other people might have. But just getting their stuff showcased.
Yeah.
Not to do a little segue, but in a sense, that's kind of what Unruly Industries is doing, and that's why I love this company. Is just the fact that we're showcasing new people that you may not know who they are. And you're getting to see their stuff, and their stuff is great.
I mean, right now you're kind of a veteran in the industry.
I feel old.
How long have you been doing this? I
don't know. I guess maybe 10 years. I guess
10 years.
Maybe.
Dude, you need like a cool pin or something to wear around. Hey, what's up? I'm Tracy.
But it's one of those things where I've been doing this stuff for so long, but yet I don't feel as if I've gotten my stuff out there enough yet for people to even know who I was even 10 years ago. But it became like a slow build to get to where I'm at today, I guess you could say.
That's cool. So like when you're working on these pieces, maybe these pieces in particular, like what's your creative process? Like how are you attacking these, in a 3D sense first, or just sketching like rough ideas? Like where do you begin?
For me personally, the way I start is an illustration first, because my background is just 2D illustrations.
Yeah.
I'm an illustrator, so especially with these three pieces, I created illustrations of like T'Challa and Miles and Wade separately, not even thinking it at first, like, oh, maybe I'll make a toy out of it. But then when the opportunity came around, I was like, you know what, let's turn these into toys. And I'll always start 2D. The theme itself, like, superheroes and sneakers, that's just my thing. So usually what I like to do is I'll think of I'll see. So most of the time, it either is the character that I like first, or like that I'm thinking of first, and then I'll think of like what shoe or what sneaker that character would wear. Or sometimes it'll be like a pair of sneakers. I'll like that is a pair of sneakers that this character would wear.
Right.
And
so sometimes the shoe informs the character informs shoe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the chicken or the egg. Who knows? Superhero or the sneaker? You don't know.
And then so like as part of the creative process for these, how did you decide like who was doing what pose and like how that worked out?
That's a great question. I usually like to pose characters based on their personality in a sense that's been established like in the comic books or whatnot. So of course, Spider-Man, he has to be like in a Spider-Man type pose.
Yeah.
That 3-point stance that's so unnatural, but if you're flexible and like, limber, you can do that. The thing though with him, with Miles, I really want to do, since he's wearing a jacket and a hoodie, I want to accentuate like action in his pose, not just a normal like, I'm just in that 3-point stance type of thing. With his pose, it looks like he's getting pushed back in a sense, or like he's skidding backwards. So that's why his jacket's kind of coming over his head and whatnot. But the sculpt really captured that, and I'm really happy with the way it looks. With T'Challa, Black Panther, I wanted to look like he was leaping. So, and again, he's like leaping down.
He's always hiding in a tree or something,
he's ready to pounce.
Pounce on a bad guy.
He's a panther. He's ready to pounce on the stuff. Yeah. And then, working with you guys, came up with a great idea of just like, put on a base. And the base is actually a graphic of a Black Panther's face.
Yes, that was one of your vector graphics from the original design.
Yep.
Expounded into a base.
And I think it works perfectly. It looks great. The flow of the laces coming, going up, so it looks like he's going down.
Yeah, the laces all on every figure have a flow that makes sense for what the character's doing.
Yeah, and then like the little Easter egg in all my pieces is the shoelaces are purposely untied, not just because they're superheroes, because it's still unsafe, kids. Tie your shoelaces.
Yeah, they're too busy fighting crime to worry about laces.
But like the Easter egg is that most, if not all, the laces are in shape of letters. So, for example, for T'Challa here, it's a B and a P for Black Panther. So I'm looking at it from behind. So the B is actually this one, and the P is this one. And then for Miles, it's 2 M's. So Miles Morales. And the Deadpool, you can see a little D and a P in there also.
Yeah, if you're kind of looking from the top.
Yeah, if you're looking from the top down, so that's why a lot of laces I use as an extra way of like design for the whole thing.
Yeah, honestly, I love that detail about it. It really is. You're literally able to add your signature or their signature to your pieces.
Exactly, yeah.
And Deadpool, what about his pose?
I mean, it's Deadpool, man. If he's not holding his guns, he's got his finger guns, man. Like the most deadliest weapons.
He's doing like the double Fonzie.
It could be thumbs up or it could be guns. So maybe it's like a little peace
He's like,
and
hey,
love.
but I'm gonna get you.
A little love and hate or whatever. But when I did that pose, all I can think of in my head was just like, pew, 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 pew. It feels like something Wade would do. Pew, 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 pew.
How many more pews are you gonna do?
Unlimited.
So, what do you think informs your style the most?
I guess like being influenced by all the things I love. So like obviously sneakers, comic books. I love cartoons, anime.
I'm just waiting for you to say some random thing that wouldn't make any sense at all. Like,
I'm trying to think of the most random thing I can think of that would influence me and stuff. My kids, because obviously they love superheroes now too. I'm raising nerds, so I'm doing my part for the nerd culture.
So are your kids gonna be able to play with these figures?
No, hell no. They're not touching these. when we get these in our house, I will put them on my shelf with daddy's toys, because they understand that they have their toys and daddy has his toys. And when it's on the shelf with daddy's toys, they can look at it, but they just can't touch them.
Okay, so if you have your family life at home, what's your creative space look like? Are the kids running around like bothering you, or do you have like work zone?
It is a work zone, but like it's like a little mini. It's actually the dining room that we turned into like my art studio type thing. So like they can walk in, and a lot of times they'll walk in and like ask me questions. Yeah. Just go, Daddy, what are you drawing? But I always have to tell them, go back out, get out of here, don't touch anything. When they were younger, we had the old baby gate that would block it all off. But at the same time, they'd be at the gate like animals, like shaking it. Dad, Dad. I'm like, no, leave me alone. I'm trying to work.
So do you do anything like, do you have any like rituals while you're working? Do you have like music playing or movies or just only screaming kids?
Well, that's what's so funny. Like, I've always been like this before I even had kids, but I'm a night owl. I suffer from that whole like artist mentality where I get creative like way late at night. So I can work during the day, even sometimes when they're around, it's harder. But my ritual is just to keep, if it's a quiet house, I tend to like be more creative that way. Every once in a while I'll turn on like a movie, like a Netflix, but in the background. Only problem with that is like, even if it's an old movie I've seen, I will always eventually like, there'll be a scene where it'll be like, yeah, exactly.
Gotta go watch it.
Must see the rest of Back to the Future 2, which I've watched 1,000,000 times, that type of thing.
So what did you do before you were doing art full time?
Nothing. Like
you were just born an artist?
It was one of those weird things where
we gotta have a hero's journey here, man.
Well, I guess the journey is I didn't get to toys until later in my career.
Okay.
When I started, I was lucky. Right from high school, going into college, my friend of mine, who was like an older brother to me, shout out to Cheeto, Quest One, what's up? He got me a job as a t-shirt graphic designer at an old surf t-shirt company that he was working at. And he taught me, along with our other friend Roman, shout out to Roman, that they taught me how to use Illustrator. And from that point on, like I was just
no turning back.
No turning back. I was ready. I was in an industry that I liked because it's all about surf and skateboarding, so I love all that stuff. I grew up on that, so I was doing t-shirt graphics. Eventually started doing like skateboard decks, and I actually designed skateboard shoes at one point.
Wow.
For Vision Streetwear.
You gotta wear those sometime, man.
They're horrible. They're like, I mean, I love them for the sake of like, I designed those back in the day, but I feel as if like their designs are like so outdated. It's like, I don't know if I can wear them again. But
dude, throwback.
True. They would fit into
I want to see
fashion.
those. I want to see those so bad.
They're from like early 2000, late 90s, so they kind of had this whole like what they call now the dad shoe look now. Because they were old skateboard shoes, so they were chunky.
Can you wear dad shoes and have a dad bod? Like,
I think that's a
you just become peak dad.
You become peak dad with dad shoes and dad bod. Yes, I agree.
Okay. Well, moving on. Do you prefer creating concepts for licensed characters or originals more?
It's half and half. Like I just have a love and respect for all of these characters I grew up like reading about and like just loving. So comic book characters in general, like whether it be Marvel or any other company, like I love those characters so much that I don't mind and I love drawing those characters. Yeah. But at the same time, as an artist, you always want to draw and create original stuff. So I like doing that too.
That's awesome. What are you working on right now?
I'm working on a couple like new original projects for myself, like trying to develop these characters I've had in my head for a while.
And you're a busy guy. You're designing licensed products with us, doing your original stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to keep busy. When you can't complain when it's busy.
I mean, like, man, that's amazing that you're like you have a full family designing stuff for big companies. You find time for your own personal art. That's got to be a crazy balance.
It is a hard balance, and like I'm trying to do the best I can. But like with the support of like companies like Unruly.
We got you, man.
Thank you. The support of my family, my wife, like it's made this dream awesome. So I can't complain whatsoever.
That's awesome, dude. Let me ask you a fantasy question.
Ooh, okay.
If you could collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would you collaborate with?
The first artist or creative person I could think of off the top of my head would be Jack Kirby. Because growing up, Jack Kirby...
That's a good answer.
Even to this day, like he's still like one of my favorite comic book artists in general. His style heavily influenced my style. You can probably notice it with like my thick black lines and solid black shadows. Like it's very Kirby-esque.
Yeah, super poppy colors.
Yeah, and I feel as if his art was way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have done something with him.
That's a great answer, dude.
Yeah.
What do you collect mostly?
Oh, geez. What don't I collect? That's the problem.
I'm going to say shoes right off the bat, right?
I would say shoes. The close second would be comic books, but I still buy comic books.
What advice would you have for artists who want to pursue a path kind of similar to your own, doing illustration or collectibles or creative stuff in that regard?
The best advice I can give to any artist, and I always tell this to upcoming artists, is just to constantly draw. Because you're honing your craft, you're honing your style.
What if you're having a bad day? Do you still draw?
You got to try to, well, if you have a bad day, you can always take a day off. But at the same time, you always want to keep pushing.
Yeah.
practicing what your skill and your craft is. I always equate it to like sports, where every NBA player, every professional sports athlete had
Did you say
to.
sporks athlete?
Did I say sporks?
You might have said. We watched Toy Story 4 the other day.
We have sporks on the mind.
Sporks on the brain.
Sporks on the brain, yeah. But yeah, every sports athlete like practices every day to get to like to be where they're at, to be the best that in their respective sport. Did I say sport or spork? See, now you got me thinking I say sporks. But like, same thing with an artist. You always got to keep drawing, keep getting better, and
So you got to push through, even if you're like the
it's
first
tough.
drawing's always gonna be bad. Like whenever I'm drawing in my sketchbook, the first one's always like, oh god, I forgot how to make a circle.
You always got to push through because like I've had projects where the first drawing that I did looked horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Then you push through it, oh, that looks better. And then I even got to a point where like, oh man, this is a horrible drawing. I just need to stop. But then at the same time, it's like if you push through it and you see it through, eventually something good comes out of it, whether it's what you intended or something brand new. And I feel like that's a cool exploration of like what you're doing, where eventually like, oh, I didn't intend it to look like this, but this looks way better than what I thought of.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I assume the very first drawings of these guys were horrible, right?
Yeah, they're horrible. They're horrid.
See, everyone at home can know that you can start from a bad drawing and end up with this stuff.
Yes.
So
hopefully.
All right. So what's next for you? What are you excited about right now? What's the next?
I'm excited about creating new stuff for Unruly because there's some cool stuff that's in the pipeline. That's
maybe who knows?
Maybe some licensed stuff, some original stuff.
Maybe who knows? We do like Tracy here, so
we'll see. I like you guys, so that's great.
Oh.
It's a great partnership.
Very flattered. I'm gonna turn red. Is there anything other closing thoughts you have about your new Marvel pieces?
All 3 of these Marvel pieces are up for pre-order.
Yeah, they're going to be at Comic-Con this year.
Ooh, at Comic-Con, so come check them out.
You can see them in person.
That'd be great. Yeah, see them in person, take lots of pictures. Feel free to tag me in the pictures if you see them and you take a couple shots. But yeah, go to Sideshow.com or Unruly.com. Unruly.com, pre-order these.
You type anything in Google, you'll find it.
Yeah, you'll find it. Pre-order these bad boys. Follow me on Instagram at Tracy Tubera, and that's
cool.
it.
Well, thanks for having a little chat with me about your toys, man.
Thank you, sir.
It's great to have very business.
That was very business.
Business. All right, great. Well, thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.